It's great being here. I can see many friends. Vice Admiral Thaplyal is there and many others. I spent a little time going around the exhibition, and in the last half an hour or so, I think it's been a very educative experience, and several thoughts have come to my mind, and I would like to share this with this audience, maybe a few perspectives on the policy. But I'm not an expert in this area, so it's more like really trying to understand the impact of this several technologies which are converging on national security and how we can leverage these technologies. But as I was thinking about the geospatial domain and also trying to learn in the last year or so with some of our experts, and Satyam Kushwaha is here. He's our man on geospatial issues, and he has been educating us a lot about what is available, and he's been really at the NSA a driving force behind the need for geospatial technologies and how it can leverage national security. And I think what he has been telling us today, I saw a little bit of that. But India is as you all know, a big country aspiring to be a big power with regional influence, global influence, etc. With the huge potential, a economic bright spot here, economic growth-wise, and a tremendous talent, and a great deal of potential amongst the youth, and with the large number of programs that the government has launched. And these are, whether it is Make in India, or Smart Cities, or Digital India, Skill India, many programs like that. And the Prime Minister has always been talking about convergence. Convergence of programs, convergence of initiatives, convergence of various schemes. And I think technology can help bring that convergence. Even in the technology domain, we are seeing all kinds of technologies are converging, whether it is communication, whether it is computing technologies. And now we have this cartography and satellites, surveying, navigation. Every field is right now just exploding with technological advancements. And important thing is that all these technologies are converging. And I think even more important is that all these technologies are today available. They are available in your hand. And the ease of use of technologies has become that much easier. So this is, we find ourselves in that sweet spot. I mean, I'm talking of India. We find ourselves in a sweet spot where if we use this opportunity to come up with the right kinds of policies, then perhaps we can begin to use this not just for national security, but for national development and for the development of society. And today the biggest challenge before us is getting that economic growth, removing poverty, generating employment, providing employment to our youth. And we have a huge youth bulge right now, which is, and I think technologies like this, like geospatial, in the geospatial domain. And I could see from the brief visit to the exhibition that this could help greatly in nation building. The number of opportunities that are there to use of these technologies, whether it's in agriculture, whether it's in transportation, whether it is national security, all of these can help in the building of India. So the large number of missions that the government is launching, I think these technologies can also, geospatial domain, technologies in this domain can also be leveraged with those missions. So I think there is this whole lot of potential here, which we haven't started looking at as yet. And this despite the fact that India has a very old history of cartography. The, I was told that there is a temple in Tanjore, which is in south of India, and Brideshwar temple, and 11th century, Raja Chola time it was made. And as you know, Raja Chola was one time when, during his time, India made a number of important advances in maritime area, and Indians reached out to Southeast Asia, etc. And there are these maps which are being made on the walls of the temple. So that shows that there is a old tradition. And I was reading somewhere that even during the Gupta period, that is now 4th century CE, that means something like 1500 years ago, there were a mention of maps. And then we had our own great scientists like Aryabhatta and Bhaskaracharya. These are people who made advances in trigonometry, in astronomy, mathematics, and that laid the foundation of modern science later. And many of those this could be used in navigation, in maps and so on. And ancient Indian seafarers, they must have been using these maps to reach out, because there is this thousands of years of history of navigating to the shores of Africa, to the using the monsoon winds. So there must have been a lot of cartography in our blood and gene, but we seem to have lost it somewhere. Even during the reign of Akbar, there is this chronicle, Aine Akbari, which is a chronicle of the reign of Akbar. So that makes it around 16th century. There is a reference to maps, and there is reference to the older ancient traditions of cartography in India. So I think we need to bring all this together and make sure that this great ferment in the technological ferment that is happening, we should be able to make use of it. And fortunately, we have all the wherewithal. We have the institutional framework. Of course, the Portuguese and the Spanish and the Dutch and the English, in the pursuit of their own business interests, in their colonial interests, they went over all over the world, and they set up a number of institutions, and they made great advances in the area of navigation and so on. But in 1757, we had the Battle of Plassey here, which established the East India Company, the British East India Company, as a political force and as a military force in this country. 10 years later, what do they do? 10 years later, they set up the Survey of India, because they realized that in order to expand into this continent and this region, they will need maps. So you had the Survey of India. Then a few years later, a few decades later, around the 1800, they did the great trigonometrical survey, which mapped the entire Indian subcontinent. And that's how you had this Everest coming up and talking about the, this highest peak. And then you had a few decades later, you had the Indian Meteorological Department being set up, and you had the Geological Survey of India that was set up, and this whole lot of institutions that were set up, and these institutions still exist. That is, so we have a long history, and fortunately after the independence, these institutions continue to work. So you have these maps being produced by these institutions, and even today we are using the maps that are being produced. And then of course you had the hydrography survey that were done by the Indian Navy, and I think so there is this whole lot of expertise and also this history that exists, but we have to catch up with the technology. What has happened is that technology has moved so fast that probably we have not been able to keep pace with technology. So we have to perhaps reinvent ourselves. All these institutions, in some sense, they are still older institutions. I think they need to now adopt these technologies and adopt them fast. Otherwise, they will be losing the lead, and they are in the danger of becoming totally outmoded and outdated. So that is where the challenge is. And of course, it's very interesting to see, as we saw in this exhibition, that a large number of Indian companies are also now coming up. And as somebody was just saying that we have maybe a market of about 20,000 crores in the area of map making and geospatial. This is a small amount, but I think this will grow with all these Skill India and Make in India kind of projects which are coming up. So this market is certainly set to grow. And it's good to see that we have a large number of Indian companies which are now coming up. And these Indian companies, as I can see, I have already tied up with their counterparts in the various countries on the cutting edge technologies, and they are already supplying many of these Indian companies, and I have met one or two. They are providing some excellent services to even foreign countries. So the Indian government also needs to develop this private-public partnership with these companies and make sure that since we are right at the infancy at this moment in the geospatial area, that they should be incorporated and they should be a good, robust, strong public-private partnership. Let me just focus on three areas, and I'm sure there are many more, and you would be discussing these during the course of the day and those various seminars, etc. One is, this is from the policy point of view. The first point, I think in India, we have to really focus is on data access and availability. Obviously, high quality data should be available, and clearly the users should have access to that data. Now, data is, today the world is about data. You are talking about, even in the cyber domain, we are talking about data sovereignty, data exchanges, and we are seeing that Europe and US today are discussing some issues of data transfers, data, the safe harbor agreement, etc. is being updated, and they are coming with, grappling with the issues of privacy, confidentiality, and so on. So I think all these issues will come to us as well. So first, that we have to have a policy which makes the access to data easier. There's no point having data with the government, a huge amount of data, but which is not available to the public. So I'm glad to see that many of the states, they have set up their stalls here, and one could see that like I think it was the Karnataka state which has come out with a portal where all this data which the government has collected, and they're sharing it with the users, whether it's land records and whether it's agriculture data, whether it is socio-economic development data, etc. So availability of maps, geospatial data to consumers within the context of a well-crafted, a well-balanced policy, that needs to be worked out. That is the first point. And of course, the quality of data that is available, that also should be of a high quality, something which is, there's no point when somebody, you can buy 50 centimeters data quite easily from a private vendor, and the government has 2 meters data or 1 meter data, and it is not available. I think our policies need to be updated. They may have been all right for a certain stage of our development, but we need to now update these policies and come out with a well-balanced policy so that all stakeholders, their needs are met, and the needs of national security and the confidentiality which is required in the commercial deals, etc., is also maintained. The second point, which I also touched upon a bit earlier, is the public-private sector partnership. And I think what should be the elements of this public-private partnership? Again, finding a balance between the needs of the government and the private sector. So that should also be a part of our policy. And the third which is again linked with the first two, is the need for a holistic geospatial policy for a geospatial domain. What should be the elements of a policy of this kind? Now, I don't have any solutions at this moment. We are looking at many of these issues, and there is a lot of work that is being done within the government. There is a thinking about updating some of these institutions, having a relook at our data policies, etc. but still this is at the a case of a discussion stage. We are moving towards a geospatial policy for geospatial domain, but we would very much like to have some inputs coming from this conference, coming from this exhibition and your various technical sessions that you are having. If there is a good paper that can be produced or some suggestions that can be given, we would very much like to start a conversation with you on these issues, and this would be a multi-stakeholder conversation, so that within a short period we come out with a good policy. So with these, I want to thank the organizers for inviting me, and I'm sorry that I won't be able to spend more time with you because I have to go back, and but I wish you all success. Thank you very much.